I'd like to go straight down the line, just have everybody introduce themselves, talk about yourself, talk about your company, what you do.
Hi, I'm Karen Weeks. I'm the VP of People at a company called Ordergroove. We do subscriptions for retails or brands. So for example, if you go to PetSmart.com, you go to buy dog food and you want to get that dog food delivered every month, it's our technology that's powering that behind the scenes, even though it looks like PetSmart. I oversee recruiting as well as all the other sort of HR, fun, people, culture things. I've been there about a year, and we are actively growing. We just got our Series C funding a few months ago, so we're building out our product and tech teams as well as our other teams as well.
Nice. So, quick question for my audience here. How many people have been on an interview and then never heard back? Gone to an interview and then never heard back? So why is that? Why do people not hear back? Like, what is the process there for when you guys meet someone in the office and then, like, what's supposed to happen next?
We are human, and so if we have missed it or dropped the ball somehow, like, reach back out to us. Say, haven't heard from you in a while, what's going on? That's the best way to, hopefully get that recruiter to go, oh shoot, I can't believe I, missed that. And so we'll hopefully be able to connect to you that way. What
would be a good way to follow up and, gently remind you that you're excited about the potential of working there? What would be a good way to realize, like, what's the next step? So maybe I didn't hear back, I'm bugging you a little bit. Should I say, hey, let me know what's going on? Is there another interview? Is there always another interview? Like, what's the standard process of going down the line? I was speaking to a lady in here who said she was on, like, interview number 3, and then it kind of just, like, went silent. So, like, what's the standard process for how many interviews they should expect at each company or a staffing agency? Like, what's the typical process here?
Yeah, for us, we usually do a phone screen, either with myself or if I'm working with an agency, have them do just sort of yes, they're a normal human being and, they're engaged in the process and they actually do want, this job versus the 20 others that they've, we're not just one of 100. Or even if you are, you faked it well enough to let us not feel that way. And then it's usually a hiring manager phone screen, so you can learn a lot more about the job and start to meet the person that you're going to be working for. Then we normally do some sort of coding assessment, whether that's literally a coding test or maybe it's a design project or something to kind of better, you said you know how to do this, let's actually see a little bit of it in action. Then we bring you in for a team interview, so that could be anywhere from 3 to 4, maybe 5 people. Really, it will be peers, it will be other managers or like a tech lead or a PM that maybe you'd be working with. And then finally, we'll do a final round with the CTO. And so that's 4 steps, I guess, 4.5 with the coding test.
All right, so let's talk about the actual interview. I want to spend a little bit of time on that because a lot of people are setting up interviews, going on interviews. Let's give some advice to the folks here about what they should say, what they should bring, what they should do. How do you like this interview? Like, the best people that you see coming through your door, what kind of skills do they have? What kind of things do they say? What kind of things do they do during that interview process?
Yeah, one thing we really look for is passion about what we're doing. And so one thing that's really important to us is authenticity and passion. And so it doesn't matter if it's e-commerce or you want to work with retailers or you want to be part of creating a category because we don't really have any competitors right now. Whatever the thing is that's getting you passionate about coming to Ordergroove, we want to hear about that. You can go to our website and spew back what the website says. I want to hear why you're excited about possibly joining us. And that ties directly to our values, which you were mentioning earlier, around authenticity and passion and wanting to be part of a startup and a scaling company where things aren't always easy and it's going to be tricky at times and we're learning as we go. Those are all characteristics of things that we're looking for, so we want to hear about that.
People tend to, you're in there, you feel like you're on the hot seat, you mess up one thing and then it like derails the rest of the conversation. So, I mean, do you see people get back on track? I mean, should they feel like if they screw up one question that, it's over, or like how should people handle that?
I actually like it when someone makes a mistake in some way or another and then they recover, because that's going to be everyday life. You're not perfect. You're not interviewing every day. You can't study for everything. You're going to fall. You're going to trip. You're going to learn something new. How do you recover? How do you learn from it? Do you have the humility to say, oh, that was not good. Can I give that again? I'd much rather see that than like be fake and try to read something from a textbook.
So on the negative side, what do you see where people are just like, not necessarily, maybe they don't have the skill set, but what have people done on an interview that's really like, this this is definitely not going to be a good fit. I'd love to hear just things maybe to avoid, pitfalls, like things maybe people say or people do, or something that they shouldn't do moving forward on any other interviews.
Yeah, I think the other thing is almost the opposite of being introverted. Sometimes when you're nervous, you can talk a lot. And for those of you who don't know, in an interview, there's this like 80-20 rule where we want the candidate to be talking 80% of the time, but it needs to be focused talking, not talking all around something. And sort of recognizing the social cues of like if the interviewer is trying to like kind of bring you back or circle back to something. So it's probably nerves, but just something to be aware of. I also tend to coach our interviewers around, if it's too much I say, well, who did you work with to get that accomplished? Because that goes to the team aspect. Or if I'm hearing only we, I'll go, well, what was your part in that? Because sometimes people use we because they weren't really a part of it and they just want to kind of like ride the coattails of that. So those are two ways that I can help drive whatever direction I need. All
right, cool. So now I want to throw out one question. I know we have a mixture of folks in the audience here, and several of them are junior developers. Like the people have just graduated, maybe a coding academy or college, and they're just getting their first job, and there's not a lot of history to talk about. So maybe they didn't have any developer jobs. Maybe they had other jobs in the past. Do you want to hear stuff that's completely outside of the industry that they're now going into? Like what should a very first interviewer, a job seeker for the first time, what should they be focusing on?
I think anything that is relevant. So sometimes part of our interviews are behavioral questions around tell me a time when, and it could be tell me about a time that you had to work together with a team to accomplish a goal. Maybe you've never worked before, but maybe your dorm room, your like hall in your dorm painted a mural or something. That's a team project. So kind of be prepared to think about how can I apply what I have done, internships, school, life, volunteering, so that to use that to sort of fill what would be normally like the work gaps. Or also, what have you kind of done on your own? So nowadays, with GitHub and all these different places that you can just put your own work up there, that's a great asset. It shows your passion and it shows that you're interested in what you're doing. So just give me a shot and I'll do it for you.
What else should they have ready? So here's my GitHub. What else should they have when they walk in that you think would be, not just junior developers, any developers, really beneficial to the interview?
I actually have a great example of someone who was shifting their career and moving into engineering after, I think she was something non-engineering, I can't remember exactly. And there was a group that she volunteered for, actually it was an animal shelter, and they needed a new website. And she said, well, I need to build my skills, you need a website, can I build your website? And they said, yeah, and all of a sudden she had a portfolio of something that she could show.
Before we get to, I want to have everybody shout out a job in a minute, but I want to just leave this with like really one good piece of advice for the job seekers here in the audience. So we can just go down there. What's something that's really good that people should really just keep in mind and remember while they're interviewing?
Persevere. It's interviewing is hard. It's not personal if you don't get selected or if we don't respond. I'm sure you've heard 1,000 times the talent market is hot. That means we're talking to a gazillion people, and so please don't take it personally. Just hang in there. I truly do believe things happen for the right reason and you end up where you're supposed to be, even if that's job 110 versus job 2. So just hang in there.
Just really quick, I just want to ask one more that you reminded me of. How many people typically apply for one job? How many people do you interview to fill one position?
Depends on the position. We've got one role that we've been really struggling with that we've met a lot of folks for. But on the flip side, so that's sort of more of a specialty role. On the flip side, sort of just a general software developer, we get tons of inbound, and sorting through that actually takes a lot longer. But maybe we only meet 5 or 6 people because we can pick them out pretty quickly. So it really just depends on the role.